Kaleem Edwards, born in Hereford, been Ahmadi since 6th of January 1990. I had been confirmed as a Christian at school because my mum wanted to be, but only went to church at Christmas, but you know, very little faith. I had no faith in God before I converted to Islam. At university, I was looking for something to. I was revising and would do 40 minutes work and 20 minutes on something else. And I had a friend that was an Ahmadi, and it was through that relationship that I got more interest and more knowledge. And then at the library at university, I would read books like Gardens of Righteousness and Tadkira and stuff like that. They were very, very good in terms of those literature. And it was so different from what I was meant to be studying for. It was a good break, and you know, change is as good as a rest. So reading some new literature was as good as having a break from what I was studying. I came to Jalsa in 1998 and 1999 before I converted, and that was an amazing experience to see people crying and the fourth Caliph's, long dialogue about people being persecuted and still believing and stuff like that. So that was and up until that point I was still interested in Ahmadiyyat, and I could see that these people were very pious and were on the right path. I just didn't believe in God, and that was my problem. So I then had to do this, I had to make this leap of faith somehow. And the family that I was with at the time had suggested that a friend of theirs had, rather like a scientist, you empirically study something. So you study something, you burn yourself to see if it hurts. So I decided that I would, for 2 years, I would live the life of, I would convert, I would live the life of, as an Ahmadi, and after those 2 years, I would then be able to clearly say whether it had any impact on me. And certainly within 3 months of that, it was clear that this was the right path, and I felt touched by God, and from then on I went from strength to strength, and I took Bai'at at the hand of the fourth Khalifa in his office with Mubarak Saki Saab, who's long since left us, but he was very inspirational in my time with him as foreign missionary. So 6th of January 1990, that's when I took Bai'at. At the time there was no, being a Muslim you're like to be some terrorist, there was no thought of that. Being a Muslim was, it wasn't a problem. They thought it was strange and would take the mickey out of me. My dad's called Alan, and so Allahu Akbar was quite an amusing thing. Alan Akbar, they would make jokes out of it. They're quite a comedic family, and so yeah, they would take the mickey out of me basically. But they were happy that I was a Muslim and believed in God, because it meant I wasn't going to drink and drive, I wasn't going to be doing drugs, those sort of things really. So it was, they took the positives from it rather than felt upset by it, because they weren't really in a situation where they weren't in a situation where they weren't in a situation where they had a faith that was interrupting. There was no faith to upset. I would say there's been times in my career when it's hindered me. There's been times when I couldn't go to Friday prayer, or I've made it a big issue. Friday prayer. I work in the market, so 1:30 on a Friday was the time when this was the US market was issuing numbers, and that was also the time for my Friday prayers. And there was lots of times where it was a case of, you're doing you've got to decide, mate, whether you're a Muslim or whether you want a job, and there are some hard decisions, and it certainly has impacted. But Allah's merciful, and has given me many things since then, and it's certainly, many friends that I know have ended up doing dodgy stuff within their work, drink, drugs, loose women, whatever, and that's, I've been protected from all of that through my faith. My faith is my shield, and that's certainly true. Certainly, I find solace in prayer. I try to go to Fajr prayer as much as I can, so that's good, and I find peace there clearly. It's peaceful here. The Jamaat gives me peace, but obviously my family, they're the things. I've got an Ahmadi wife, I've got Ahmadi children. It's a harmonious life, and so it's very peaceful for me.